My name is Bill Miner. I'm a musician and a writer. Came here in 1971, and I started writing about the jazz scene outside of the Monterey Jazz Festival, because I'd written a book about, later on I wrote a book about the Monterey Jazz Festival. And one of the people I interviewed was a guy named Bill Jackson, who was the bailiff over at the courthouse and an incredible drummer and vibes player. He told me there was a flourishing jazz scene right up through the 60s. The Colony Club, the place called Pig Al. And he said musicians from LA loved to come up and sit in, and also there were soldiers out of Fort Ord who were fine musicians who would love to sit and come over also. He said there was music 5 nights a week, jazz sessions every Sunday, and it was great. And when Carla Bley was here in 2005 with her big band, she said that she had born in Oakland, and she came down here at age 17. And the Miramar Hotel over on 70 Pacific Street played there, and mostly GIs, she said. And she said, I hated to take requests. And she said, somebody requested Hello, Dolly. And I said, I thought that was gross. And of course, later on, Louis Armstrong would have a big hit out of that. But there she was at 17 playing a place, and she said again that the jazz scene was quite lively. I'll break it down just really quickly in 3 sections. There were an old guard when I came here, and there were some people like Buddy Jones, who was from Arkansas, a good old boy, wonderful bass player, who had been Charlie Parker's roommate in New York. And there were musicians that came here the way that musicians like Gary Meek have come here now, because they just wanted to be a part of the Monterey area and to live here. And Buddy was like that. He lived back in Carmel Valley. So there were several people, Papa Jake Stock and the Abalone Stompers. There was a woman named Edna Lewis, who I went to her 80th birthday at the Moose Lodge in Delray Oaks, and she played saxophone. She was walking around with her pink blouse and her saxophone cord. And, so there was an old guard of musicians. I did an article called "Is Monterey a Jazz Town?" and a lot of the players were saying, no, it's not. It's only 3 days out of the year, the Monterey Jazz Festival. But the article I did, must have interviewed like 20 people who are just amazing. And I remember Biff Smith, who has a great group now called Along Came Betty. Dottie Dodgen, who plays Thursday nights out at Spanish Bay. Kenny Stahl, who's a marvelous flute player. Roger Eddy, who plays all over the place. But there are just an amazing number of musicians in the scene I thought was really flourishing. Terry Warros, the beverage manager at the, what was the Sheraton then, is now the Marriott, had a great jazz club called the Bay Club. And people from all over the country came and played, and local musicians. And then there was a jazz and blues company in Carmel through station KRML. And that was a great venue, and people, again, playing there from all over the place. The scene now, David Morewood at the Hyatt has music Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights, and the people after the Jazz Festival flourish down there, run down there, stays open just about all night long. I came in once, and Wynton Marsalis was playing with the Honor Band kids from the Monterey Jazz Festival. So there's that scene going on. There was Monterey Live was a great venue. And unfortunately that folded and closed. One last place I'll mention is the Alternative Cafe, a group I know. I play with, have a trio myself, Jen Schaff on drums and Heath Proskin on bass, and we just played there recently, and it's a great little venue. Reminds me of clubs I remember in New York City some time ago, intimate and great sound. And another group called Aporia, which Heath is in, Stu Reynolds on saxophones, and they play there also. So I think Monterey is a jazz scene. You got to look for it in the local papers, but the musicians are there, and it's a good town for jazz.